As it's coming through, and you can see we've been tracking since it started up on the board.
As Tropical Storm Guillermo draws closer to Hawaii, the Big Island is reminded of the events that took place nearly 1 year ago to the day, when Tropical Storm Iselle hammered East Hawaii on August 7th, 2014.
Right, August 7th, the anniversary of Iselle impacting our community.
Iselle was a hurricane up until it made landfall, and so Puna faced the worst of it. High winds toppled trees and storm surge inundated coastal villages like Kapoho. We spoke with Hawaii County Civil Defense Administrator Daryl Oliveira about what has been learned and how it is being applied now that Guillermo threatens the islands 1 year later.
Yeah, so one of the things we did, once the lava flow slowed down and gave us a moment to kind of regroup and go back out into the communities, we've been meeting with community associations primarily in the Puna area and asking them to share with us, what seemed to work well during Iselle, and definitely what could have been done better on the part of civil defense or government. And probably the biggest or common theme that we got from those meetings was better communication. Information going out early, information timely and accurate, and maintaining a good communication flow throughout the event. So much so that we've been using our mass notification tool, which has the capability of pushing out email and text messaging. We created a community association group in that tool. So since Friday, we've been emailing and texting the community associations in the Puna area and using them as a conduit out to the members in their community, letting them know what's happening, what's currently going on, in addition to our regular radio broadcasts and our webpage and other tools that we use. So we saw an opportunity to do a better job with integrating the community into our emergency operations plans. And for many of the community associations, they have a network of resources there from contractors who live in the area, people who are already volunteering and helping in their community. And it was also an opportunity for them to share with us maybe residents or members of their community who would possibly be in need if we had a disaster, the vulnerable population. So by integrating the community associations and the community into our plans, we're going to have a much better response going forward. Again, taking a lot of lessons learned with Iselle.
Iselle was a harsh reminder that the Big Island has a tree problem, in particular the invasive albizia, which toppled easily under the high winds, downing power lines and blocking roads. The good news, so many albizia have already fallen. And Chief Oliveira said Hawaiian Electric Light Company has spent around $1 million clearing around their transmission lines.
Well, between what fell with the storm and the efforts that have been ongoing by HELCO, the State Highways and Public Works, the community itself, Big Island invasive species, there's an ongoing effort to cut back, remove, mitigate the albizia. There's still a lot out there. So we'd still expect to see problems with the albias, but much less than what we saw before. And we just need to stay on top of it and continue to support these programs aimed at controlling and mitigating and hopefully eradicating at some point the albizia trees.
This time around, Civil Defense is taking special care to prepare Kapoho for Guillermo.
The surge and surf, yes, because it's a low-level coastal community that's been vulnerable, and because of the direction the surf is coming from, they are extremely vulnerable to that. So we've been, like I said yesterday, sending the CERT team out there, going door to door, just making sure the residents are aware. And with the feedback we got from the CERT team members was that the community residents that were home said yes, they are much more vigilant and prepared and listening and monitoring information more closely, and they appreciate that we're trying to do a better job of keeping them informed.
Ka'u is also facing high surf, which began building Sunday evening.
Yes, and then again, same thing with the ocean safety reports this morning. They're seeing increased surf heights out in that area already.
Another problem reported during Iselle was an incident at the Puna Geothermal Venture. Falling trees took out transmission lines at the power plant in Poiki, knocking the facility offline and creating the need for an emergency steam release. Some in the surrounding community, who were already trapped by the storm, say they suffered as a result of the facility's actions.
We'll actually be discussing that tomorrow. We had a conversation today, myself with HELCO, about discussing what's the likely operational scenario for PGV and HELCO going into another wind event, which, as we know, when there's a wind event that trips the power grid, it does put PGV in a position to may have to downsize or downscale their operation as well as go into emergency operations mode. So if we can avoid some of that, we'd like to have those conversations now before any impact.
On Monday, Civil Defense was already warning campers in the remote sections of the island.
We help, and the plan is for tomorrow at sometime in the morning, is to fly the coastal areas along the east side primarily, so from South Point through to Upolu Point on the north side, make contact with backcountry campers or fishing groups in there, and just notify them of what's expected over the next few days and give them lead time so they can make plans to either move to higher ground or vacate some of the campgrounds. No, we just appreciate the communities doing their part with preparing for this. And like I said, right now the forecast is for the system to continue to weaken, but preparation never hurts, and we can prepare for the worst and just hope for the best. And again, it's just an opportunity for all of us to exercise our own emergency response plans. We don't want to see a last-minute rush on the commodities or the stores out there. We also don't want to see people rushing around that puts them at risk for vehicle accidents or something goes wrong. People should take the time now. I mean, ideally we'd be doing this year-round, just always preparing for the different hazards we're vulnerable to. When an event like this comes up, it just kind of speeds up the process or raises that concern that we should all do what we can to prepare. And again, hopefully nothing happens.
Yeah.